So, Mallareddy College of Engineering and Technology is autonomous institution, a Tier 1 MBA, that to MBA department, UGC Government of India, a series of innovative entrepreneurship programs organized by Department of MBA prestigiously with the taking collaboration and support from the TBI, startup and also IIC cell, R&D department of MBA MRCET department, MRCET. So from during 1/7/2021 to 10/7/2021. So today is our concept, idea generation and validation. So guys, this is completely it means an innovative idea generation and also the validation steps where you are going to exactly learn about the how exactly we are going to generate the ideas from our mind. So as Satish sir said very clearly, so our brain is means two brains we have. One if you sleep, and another brain is always think something about it is going means it's keep on functioning. Likewise, I just wanted to define you in the same way, means the generation, how exactly you are generating the various ideas in your mind. The sense of your mind is going to give you many directions, and the sense of mind you are going to give many ideologies. So these all ideologies which you are going to carry in your mind means one fine day, it is going to be converted into a product or a service. So this is what exactly we require. That is the reason why idea generation is the first and foremost important step for any business innovative ideology or any business any entrepreneur. Without generating any idea and after even generating the idea, until unless you're not going to add it some execution. So without having execution, proper execution, you may not reach to the destination, what exactly you feel and what exactly you started with this. So that is the reason why idea generation is the most important step and first and foremost important step I can say for being a budding entrepreneur. Ideas are the keys to innovation. Without that ideas, there is not much to execute, and because of execution is the most important key to learn each and every one of us. So new ideas are necessary for making any kind of improvement. So many ideas you may generate, but until unless you're not going to execute the same thing, it is nowhere useful for any one of you. So what I mean to say here, you must have to execute the idea, what exactly it has been generated in your mind. That is the same way you can take the step forward to look forward to generate that, execute that idea in an appropriate way so that you can reach your destination at the end of the day. So until unless you're not going to execute it, so no one of can learn anything from that generation of that idea. So in our previous sessions also, one of the session I can remind still that endorse your ideas taken by Mr. N. Rajesh Babu and Ramya ma'am and also Sunita ma'am. So during that session also, they've taken up many examples like Ola cabs, and also another ma'am has given description about the ideology defined by the one of the means the personality who wants to start a business with her idea, but she couldn't able to done it properly by execution. So that execution itself only has taken place a lot. Some success stories and some failure stories of idea generation. There are plenty of that. So there are plenty if you can start doing and discussing of this idea generation. So every idea, whatever it has been generated in your mind that not executed properly. So that is there 100%. Why? Because there are many things are there to learn in this particular session about this particular area of idea generation and idea validation. So let me take you to the next level. What exactly the idea generation and why it is important. Yes, there are many of you have a little bit confusion in your mind. The state of mind will tell you always different things to each and every one of us. Guys, if it is goes like this, and someone will tell, if you are doing something in the middle, immediately someone will deviate you to take you into the other direction. So there are many things are there to reach your destination. Until you reach your destination, there are many things are will rotate like anything in your mind. So that is the reason why you must have to have a proper idea before going to execute it and before going to validate this particular idea, what exactly has been generated. So my best solution to each and every one of you, better not to go for execution directly without having this validation. So validation is the most important. Viability, you must check it out before going to execute that particular product, whether it is going to be worth it or not. So in the market, there are many things to have to learn to see before going to execute, and before going to launch your particular product in the market. You must know whether the market is, that viability is there to our product or not. So whether is there any viability, is there any target customers, is that the customers are really required our concept and our product. So there are many things you must have to do the survey before going to launch your product in the market. So for that launching of the product, you have anyhow, you have to conduct the market survey. That market survey is going to take you to reach the one more level of achieving the some stages. So here in this particular area of the idea generation, it is exactly the process of creating and developing, and also the communicating what exactly, visualizing your own idea, how it has been generated, how it has going to be communicated to your target customer, that we are going to learn here. So it is the front end part of the idea management. There is no doubt in that. Without having an idea, there is no other things to do in the coming forward. So that is the reason why idea management is the only the front end part for every reason and for every budding entrepreneur. Without having idea, we can't able to do anything. So it isn't it. So that is the same way. It is a final to, and it's a focuses on coming up with the possible solutions to perceived or actual problems are going to be addressed properly or not to the market, to your own customers, those who are expecting to have this product in the market. So there are many things like this. If you start learning about this idea generation and why exactly that idea is important, that much important in the organizations. This is what exactly idea generation is not only important, and even though there are many things are there to have to according means along with this idea generation, we must have to cope up many things until unless it won't be reached to the destination of your execution. So is this idea is a good idea? Who knows it? We ourselves know nothing. We know nothing what is exactly whether it's this idea is viable, whether this idea is having some market in the at outside of the market, whether this idea is having some custom commercialization, whether this idea is having some mark, means something we cannot predict anything until it reaches to the customers, until it customers can accept it something in a positive way. We do not know anything whether it is going to be in an appropriate, means whether it is going to be acceptable by the customers or not acceptable by the customers. We cannot predict anything before going to launch this product in the market. So that is the reason why this is exactly the validation is most important. After generating the idea generation, the next immediate step is your idea validation. So without knowing this validation, without knowing your viability, where you are going to do and how you are going to launch your product in the market, that is the most important concept we must learn about this particular area of learning today in our session. So idea validation is most important. So until unless you are not going to validate your idea, whether this idea is having some worthy at the market or not, so you are not going to do the further steps. Unnecessarily you are going to lose a lot of money and expenditure and whatever the etc time and everything. There are many things are there, manpower. So apart from that, there are many things you are going to lose the impression of your own customers. So better not to do such type of mistakes knowingly. So though you are knowingly that mistakes, so better not to go for the final execution until you are going to validate. So this is the most important stage. So guys, please be careful and learn the properly what exactly your idea, whether this idea is going to be validated or not, how exactly it is going to be validated, in what way, in what respect it is going to be validated, that we will learn here. So did you know that most of the business ideas are failed within the first year? There are many stories are there, many case studies are there like that. Although the absence of money and inability to execute the idea are often mentioned as reasons for failure, the root cause is usually lack of proper market research. See what exactly we briefed before this slide, the market research, the same concept he has given here. Without having proper research, market research, without knowing your customers, what customers are really expecting from you, what exactly their needs, what exactly their requirements, what exactly their expectations. So you are not going to means we are not going to predict the taste and preferences of the customers, isn't it? So we may have any predictions in our mind whether this company product are going to be satisfy the customers or not. It is not in our mind. It is not in our hands even. So what is there in our mind? In our mind, it is very clear that only we have the idea. So this idea, how it is going to be satisfied after converting into a product or service, that we cannot predict it, isn't it? So that we cannot predict it, and we cannot even, we do not know anything what exactly it is going to happen once if it is launched in the market. So that is what the reason. This is the most important stage. This is the most important concept where we should learn. Being a budding entrepreneurs, you must have to have this particular knowledge before going to execute and before going to launch your product in the market. What is idea validation? Many of you have still again the doubt will start. Sir, is this market means idea is that much required to validate, sir? Yes. Of course, it is not required for every idea. Of course, it is not required for every idea. All ideas are not at all required to validate. Only the few ideas which are really required, means which is really have the tough competition at outside of the market, those type of ideas are going to be validated. Why? Because as you aware of that, your company is facing a lot of competition from other companies at outside of the market. When you come to know about this, why to take unnecessary risk before going to launching this particular, executing this particular product or service in the market? We will go for the validation. What is there in that? So don't go blindly. I have very good reputation, though I have many competitors, I have my own market, I have my own profit, I have my own share in the market. So better not to come to that type of conclusions here. So this type of conclusions only make you to get into the deep problems at the end of the day. So better not to do such type of mistakes knowingly. So that is what this validation is most helpful to you, each and every one of the budding entrepreneurs. How better it will be take you to the reach to your destination. So it is a process that starts from an idea and typically ends with paying a customer. 100%. If your idea is going to be a successful and worthy idea, 100% your customers are ready to buy and ready to accept your company products. The main purpose of this idea validation is to expose the idea to the practicality of the real world before you build and release the final product which you are going to offer to your own customers. So how best means in best the whatever the way he conveyed the message, it is really very good and it is really appropriate. See, the wording is very clear and precisely he described that it is a process that starts from an idea, as you are aware of that. So without idea, there is no validation step will start. So the purpose of this idea validation is before going to launch your own product in the market, they are going to see the practicality. Whether this product is having a practical exposure, means whether it is a viable, whether it is going to have any market, whether it is going to have a worthy product, really the customers are really expecting like these products. So like that, there are many things that validation is going to clear it out. I hope you understand this, why exactly idea validation is required to have being a budding entrepreneur. That too, the customer, that it means especially the company products, those who are having a lot of competition. And I'm not even forceful to have every idea is going to be validated. No need of that. If your idea is unique, if your idea is very much clear, then there is no requirement of validation. But whoever is having that idea, having more competition, the companies are having more competition, and this type of ideas and this type of products already existed in the market, then you must go for the validation without any second thought in the mind. Why we should go for the validation? Again, there is one more important area. Okay, what is idea validation? That we'll learn. Why we need it? That we should learn it. New ideas have unpredictable, 100%. elements, and if some of them goes wrong, it can totally destroy your plans at once. Totally destroy at once means your money, manpower, your whatever the things which you have kept, that everything is going to be lost at a once at a time. So validation may reduces the risk, and it also speeds up the delivery of your value creating service in the market and minimizes the cost. So many of you have that idea, sir, my idea is unique. None of them are having this type of ideas, have been generated and have been operated and have been in the practicality in the real time. So mine is very unique idea. So I do not have any validation is required. So simply I can go and I just enter into the market, and finally I can come up with the qualitative and quantitative output in view of the profitable oriented company I can make you, sir, by accepting my own customers. If you have that confidence, if you have really that confidence, none of them means no one of you can have you to go for the validation. But how can you predict that? Are you going to be an astrologer to predict your idea is going to be 100%, it is going to be a worthy in the market, 100% it is going to be satisfied by each and every one of your customers? How can we predict that? No, there are many competitors at outside of the market. Though you're not having the competitors, even though you're not having any competitor of your company products in the market, how you are going to do that? So you have to do in a different way. Why to take unnecessary risk here? While you are reducing the risk, so better not to go for to face the risk. So being an entrepreneur, I said many times, to face the risk. He or she is going to be face the risk taker. Yes, 100%. There is no doubt in that. But this type of risk, you do not welcoming all this type of risk into your business organization and into your personal life. Unnecessarily, it is totally destroys your personal mind, and also totally it is going to be wastage of your money and also the time, etc., etc. There are many other things also. So apart from these two, there are many other things also which can be carried. So that is what the reason, better not to do this type of things and this type of risk in your organization for your betterment of your organization. So apart from this, how to validate an idea? So there is one more important thing, how best we are going to validate an idea. So many of us, we have that something in our mind, how best we are going to validate these ideas. However, when it comes to the new business ideas, products and concepts with more risk, idea validation is highly recommended. Idea validation is highly recommended. So this is what the one more important business area, one more important, we must have to have this business idea, how best it is going to be come under the validation. It is whether it is highly recommended or only partially recommended, or it is not at all recommended. So this you must have to see your business idea, what exactly it has generated in your mind. Is it really suggested to go for the highly means recommended for the validation? So that we have to see. So validation is ultimately about testing assumptions. It is most important to test the riskiest assumption, the hypothesis first, and not to waste your time or something that doesn't have potentiality. You can use the play to win strategy framework as a reference when conducting tests and also making various choices. So this is what the guys were exactly how best we are going to validate an idea for betterment of your success of the product or services which you are going to launch, which you are going to see. So this is what the most important area where we should have total means throughout the idea generation, from the generation to this validation, this is the most important area we should have a lot of focus. So until it is recommended for validation, we should not go for validation. So how do we know, sir, whether it is recommended for the validation or not? There is a good question in your mind. I know this question is running in your mind like anything. Yes, I said before this also, the test means the idea until unless if it is having a lot of demand in the market, then only we can go for the highly recommendation. If not, we should not go for the recommendation. So idea validation, we must go in that proper way only. So sorry. So this is the exact process of 4 steps of process of idea validation. So from the defining goals to how exactly develop a hypothesis, how to do the experiment, and how to validate. So what exactly under the goals, what do you want to learn? Should you validate your market, problem or product? What exactly to develop the assumptions, what type of assumptions which we can make, and the minimum, that is a minimum success mantra for every execution, before going to validate. And later we can go for the experimental stage. And last but not the least, this is the exact step what we are discussing now in our session, that is validation. So after completing and concluding the assumptions into the reality, after that means the successfully completed with these experiments and all, now we are going for the validation. So these are the 4 important steps, how best they are going to executed these steps of under the idea validation, that we will see. So the first and foremost important thing is this: define your goal. So before going to validate, or before going to the next level of under the validation steps and all procedures, we must have to know about our goal. What is our basic goal? The fundamental, this is a fundamental concept for each and every one of the budding entrepreneur. You must have to have this thing in your mind. What is your goal? So how do you define your goal? Immediately, sir, what is my goal? You said that is good only. How to define my own goals, sir, for my organization? So that is a good question. Yes. So let us go through that. Here there is a clear description how you are going to fix and how you are going to define for your own enterprise this goal. These are the steps where exactly it can be helpful to you make a proper goal of your to reach the destination. So the problem, any goal, if you are going to reach a goal, that goal, it has to be starts with a problem means any question or something, etc., that we are going to find out some solution. That itself only we are searching for the solution to that problem. So is your problem really worth solving? Is there any feasibility that problem or else that question? Without having the solution to that problem, means without having the feasibility, better not to choose those type of problems and those type of risks into your business organization. So this is one more important area. Means whether this problem, many problems are there, but come to your business organization, come to your company product, before going for the validation, whether this whatever you are fixing under this problem, whether it is really worthful problem or not, that we need to identify, that we need to understand. Next to that is a solution. So is your product offering and going to solve the problem what exactly you defined before this? So that is a one more important area under defining of your goal. There are features are there. How do the core features of your product work in the business organization, or especially are they going to satisfy your own customers? Means all your features of the all your features of the product, is it really required by the customer? If the customer is really looking for these type of features only from you, is this only they are expecting from your company? If you know before that it seems only, then how it is going to be fulfilled and how it is going to be satisfied, all these with this all features, that also we can see. Business model. So this is one more important area under the defining of the goal. So business model, is your business model is really viable? is really feasible or scalable, which means is a measurable. So that also one more important thing under your defining of the goal of your company. So of your company product. So last but not the least, one more important area is that price. So is there any enough demand to make your business model work with the price what you have set? How does your pricing model work in practical? So the company iPhone 6, iPhone 7, iPhone 8, iPhone 9, iPhone 10, iPhone X, there are many models we have seen from the iPhone. Keep on, they are going to release a new product, new iPhone company mobile phone in the market, isn't it? So we have advanced model or previous model or before that model. Something, some feature is 100% is changing and he is going to show the difference and also why he kept this much of amount for this model iPhone when he compared with the previous model of iPhone. So that is 100% is showing that. So we even witnessed it. Many of us we are using that mobile phone, iPhone mobile phones. With that only we will come to know, okay, this is what the price differentiation from one the previous company model to this company, this model, iPhone 9 to iPhone 10, iPhone 7 to iPhone 9. Like that, there are many models, there are many variations. So apart from the models also, even he is increasing the features of the product also. So that is one more important area. So the prices and business model is developing how it is going to be practically feasible with this the product which you are going to launch in the market. So the guys, what exactly it is required here, the defining of your goal about your product, your company product is most important stage where exactly you are going to define this goal for your business organization, which is going to be validation before going to the validation. So develop a hypothesis. This is next step under the validation. There are four important stages are there. So develop a hypothesis. So multiple assumptions are there. So multiple assumptions, under the multiple assumptions, any one we can pick it, that multiple assumption that is going to be significant at the end of the day. So a useful hypothesis is a testable statement which often includes which often includes which often includes a prediction, that is one that's the most likely to fail and would also have the direct consequences. What would have to be true for the idea which is going to be feasible? So which is going to be feasible, how it is going to be feasible, from the raising of the various assumptions in your mind, that all our hypotheses are going to be, finally it is going to be tested and finally it is going to be comes into the practicality whether this hypothesis are really feasible or not. That we will come to know by developing a hypothesis. Without having an hypothesis, it is very difficult to know whether, even though if you are going for the testing, whether you are going for the experiment, how you can conduct the experiment without having the hypothesis. So if you have the multiple options only, then only we will go for the better option at the end of the day. So without having the multiple options, we cannot go to the final one we cannot select from out of 5 or 6, isn't it? So we must have to select any one among them. We must have that hypothesis. That is only we are raising here, that before going to the experiment or testing something, etc., etc., we mean in view of the research, we must have this hypothesis. So we must have, after that, immediately we need to do the experiment, which is going to be in a proper way, the testing methodology which we can apply, and it is also going to helpful to each and every one of us to reduce the fastness of the means to increase the fastness and also reduce the cheapest way, means reduce the cheapest cost and everything. That is also one more important area, one more important that be in the scope of our study. So within this scope that we are doing that case, whatever exactly they're taking into the consideration, that we are going to test it, that we are going to experiment it, and finally it is going to give us in a practically a good exposure before going to launch our product in the market. So an experiment is a test or set of tests that can be measured the effects of a hypothesis and also reveal whether or not you should proceed with your idea. So that itself only clearly tells us okay, this idea is going to be tested and it is going to be successful and it is having a lot of feasibility. You can, without having any second thought, you can launch this product into the market. Means we can go for the launching and you can go for the execution. Next step. So whether you should go forward or back, that itself only clearly tells with the taking help of this practicality of this experiment of the this particular area of the experiment under the validation process. Last but not the least, validate and develop your idea. Although validation is not always guarantee of success, even no one can assure you that. Even sir, I have validated my idea. Now I have all my wings, so I can fly anywhere in the world, sir. Yes, you can fly anywhere in the world by taking ticket of your flight ticket. You can fly with your passport and visa. So that is there anyhow. You have that permission. But if you wanted to fly with your idea to start up anywhere in the world, that we are not going to assure you. No one can give you any assurance after the validation. Even though your validation is successful, your product is, your idea is 100% validated, no one can give you success. Means no one can give you that much of assurance it is going to get the 100% success in the market, as it's the execution that matters. Now the second important stage it has come. Now the execution as matters a lot. So once if you have startup, means idea generated and later be validated idea. So even though we are not having any guarantee whether our product is going to be successfully satisfied by the customers or not, whether it is going to be reached the customers or not. So we cannot, means we do not know whatever the thing it is going to happen in the market once if you launch your product in the market. So that is itself only the reason why we are not going to give any guarantee for your product. After your validation, continuous validation at the many stages you have crossed even, but we do not know whether it is going to be success or failure in the market. So it depends upon the completely on your execution. So this execution matters a lot here. After validating the most critical assumptions and using the data what we have gathered in the validation process, throughout the process from the beginning of the defining your goals, it will be definitely help when you start developing and implementing your idea. So this is what the most important area, the most important of every budding entrepreneur. You must have to have this knowledge especially and thoroughly to launch. Before launching your product in the market, you must have to gather the lot of information, market survey, the market research. Until unless you are not going to conduct any research, better you should not go and you should not turn to implement your idea into the commerciality. Though you are converting into the idea into the commerciality, one who not gives guarantee to get the success of your company product at the end of the day, which is accepted by your customers. So this we can say the validation is the most important stage and most important for every one of you. That is what the reason idea generation, how exactly it is important. Later, idea validation is also most important. The viability, feasibility of idea is most important and it plays a very vital role. At present, most of the budding entrepreneurs, without having this knowledge, they are getting failed in their market. So this is what I wanted to convey in the message. So I just let me give you a few seconds. I will show you one video